Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and I am back with day number 28 of the March Madness Sketch Challenge from Scrap Now, Sleep Later. Today I'm going to stretch this one-page sketch into a double-page layout. I'm using this super old collection from my mind's eye. It's called Penny Lane. This paper is from 2009. That is how old this collection is. The photos that I'm using are of my friend when she did a photo shoot with her family. These particular photos are of her and her husband, and he is wearing a purple shirt. So this collection just looks so good with these photos. The sketch calls for a kind of scalloped edge down at the bottom, and when I saw this paper I was like, oh, that works perfectly. So I did go ahead and cut it, and I'm going to put it down at the bottom of both sides of the layout. I then found this purple paper, and I'm going to cut a really large circle using my Creative Memories circle cutters. I didn't cut it all the way through. It actually didn't fit on my mat, and then when I tried to cut it again, it didn't cut it straight, but I knew that it was going to be okay because most of it was going to be tucked in. The paper had all of these holes, and I had to poke them all out because they weren't completely poked out. Then I started to work through some of the scraps that I had, and on the left hand side of the layout it called for these little strips, so I'm actually using the branding strip from this collection to cut out a green, and I also cut out a light purple, but that doesn't actually make it on the layout because it clashed a lot with the purple that was on the bottom piece. This particular green paper has a little scalloped edge as well, and the sketch called for that, so I was like, why not use that piece? I'm going to audition a couple of different pieces. I do end up using this stripe piece as the main piece down at the bottom, and my title is actually going to sit on that. I have several photos, and none of the photos really match the orientation, and I was just going to go with it. So I have a larger 4x6 photo, and then I also have a 3x4 photo, and I like the way that those two photos sit nestled together. I really like this teal paper, and I'm going to use that to the left of the photo, just like the sketch calls for. I'm very comfortable with the way that the layout is turning out, so I go ahead and start working on the right hand side of the layout. And really I was just going to try to figure out how to incorporate these three photos onto the right hand side. There's not really a big story. Again, like I said, these are her family photos. They're actually pretty older family photos, and so I just really wanted to get them on a nice layout. I found another branding strip that had a grid on it, so I went ahead and cut that piece out, and that is what I'm going to use on the left hand side where those two banner strips are called for. I then use that grid paper as well to cut out a banner piece using my banner punch, and I'm going to tuck that into the bottom like the sketch calls for. So I decided to bring that green piece of paper back out, and also this teal paper. I'm going to add that to the bottom. I'm then going to use my peacock feathers to ink all of the edges. I do take a picture of the layout just to make sure that I have it in the right order when I put it back down, because there was so many smaller pieces to it. I have used my paper trimmer a lot this month, so I definitely need to get out some aluminum foil and sharpen it. It is definitely starting to tear some of the paper, especially the thicker paper and the thinner paper, as you saw there just a moment ago, and I just covered it up by inking the edges. So I have my phone off camera, and I'm just using that as a guide to put all of these pieces back down so that they are in somewhat of the same order that they were in before I inked all the edges. I just put a little bit of adhesive in the center of the paper because I knew that I was going to be tucking a lot of pieces, so I will go back later and make sure that everything is adhered down properly. I do pull out the fun foam, and I use that to pop up the 3x4 photo that's on the right. As I'm getting these photos down, I just wanted to ask you guys, do you have family photos done? Are they done on a yearly basis? Like, how often are you actually getting professional photos done? I do feel like we get photos done quite often, and probably a lot more than most people, but I do have a local photographer that I am in love with. She does have a program that allows you to get photos done on a pretty regular basis, and it actually makes it pretty reasonable to have them done. So we actually get family photos done 4 times a year. Eli does his back to school and end of school year twice a year, and then we actually do family photos twice a year as well. So we see her quite a bit. We actually just got our Easter photos taken and got them back recently, and they are amazing. I can't wait to scrapbook them. I actually realized as I was going through some of my photos that there's a lot of family photos that I haven't actually scrapbooked, so I need to start working on getting those printed out and getting those scrapbooked, because she's an amazing photographer and I'm so excited to have a photographer that I can trust and is reasonably priced and just an amazing person. So if you need a photographer, if you are local to the Central Florida area, just let me know. I will gladly recommend her. But let me know in the comments below, do you have photos taken on a regular basis, professional photos taken, and where do you get those photos done? So as I was rambling on, I started to really build up some of my clusters. Up there on the right hand side, I just put that little floral, I cut it in half and put it above the photo, and I'm really not going to do anything else more to that. I'm just going to leave it as is. Over on the far right, I did kind of mimic the strips of paper that are over on the far left, and I'm going to build a cluster at that section there. I pulled out some of the embellishments from this collection, and this is definitely a collection from 2009. The embellishments are very sparse. So I went into my embellishment book and started to pull out pieces from there. And I found this chipboard floral, and it doesn't go with the collections, but the colors match almost perfectly. And I believe that's a basic gray piece. It just looks like a basic gray piece. I also added a lilac color heart up at the top, and then a tag that says Sweetest Day. And then I did pull out these glitter stars in a teal color and added that to two of my clusters as well to kind of bring in some of the bling to this layout. I pulled out my color boxes, of course, in purple, and added those down. I have these enamel shapes, but they're not really enamel. They're like a matte color, but they have no adhesive on them at all. Like when I take them off the backing, the adhesive stays on the backing. I love them. I love the matte color. It just crazy that it doesn't have any adhesive. I also pulled out some teal hearts as well as this like glass color green enamel dot as well. And then I went into my bling box, again trying to use up those blings, and I had this purple bling that I went ahead and cut because it was really large and I just wanted a smaller bling in two of the clusters as well. I auditioned a couple of different titles, but I do end up with this wood grain Love Ya, and I add that to the title section. The striped piece of paper isn't as long as the title, so off camera I do go ahead and recut another piece, and you'll see that in the close-ups to make sure that the Love Ya title fits on it. I was gonna just go with it, but I didn't like the way that it looked. So here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. Once again, let me know in the comments below, how often do you guys get family photos done, and are you scrapbooking those family photos? If you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.